All right, let's get into it here. Our first game is Maryland at Indiana. Off of my mouse. Maryland at Indiana. And it is the 11th meeting between the two teams. They are, Indiana leads the series 7-3. We have so looking at, I was trying to figure out how to present this. Looking at Maryland, we're trying to review Maryland here. Maryland, I think, has been a bit of a surprise this season. Last year, they went 3-6 in the Big Ten. Overall, they went 7-6. They are currently 1-2 in the Big Ten and 4-2 overall. Their prediction or their expectation from Athlon was that they would go 3-6 in the Big Ten and 6-6 overall, which is a winning season. It would make them bowl eligible, but it's not a fantastic season. I have them winning 3 of their remaining games, which would end them at 4-5 in the Big Ten and 7-5 overall with the bowl game, which means they would beat the predictions. Yeah, this is I didn't think this through properly when I wanted to do this, but Maryland hasn't won more than 3 conference games a season since joining the Big Ten. So from that perspective, they would be doing really well if they win a couple of more. They have to win 2 more games in the Big Ten just to tie that record. Last year was their first bowl game in 6 years. They have ample opportunity to repeat this year, but I think they beat the prediction, which isn't a fantastic prediction. How do you see it, Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I had them going. I've got them beating Indiana, Northwestern, and Rutgers. But I think kind of surprising, we disagree on the Wisconsin game, which I think is kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, Maryland, I've got them finishing 8-4. They're going to get their second bowl game, I feel like. That Wisconsin game is honestly a toss-up to me. But it's like you said, I mean, Maryland has overall been kind of a disappointment since joining the Big Ten. So this has been kind of a surprisingly good year for them and a surprisingly bad year for Wisconsin. I know they played really well, last week or the week before. But I don't know. I've got a good feeling about Maryland making it to their second straight bowl game. That would be a huge thing for them.
Yeah, that's why I think Maryland tends to be a fairly, from the looks of it, they tend to be a fairly average or below average team, where Wisconsin doesn't sit out for very long. They're a perennial powerhouse. And I know they're going through the coaching change right now, but Leonard seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, he got those guys fired up last weekend. They destroyed, they played Northwestern, I think, last weekend and destroyed them.
Yeah, and that's where you got to stop for a second and be like, it was Northwestern.
Well, sure, but given that they went 0-3 to start the season,
right?
That's a pretty big change. That's why I think they'll likely lose. That's why I think Maryland will likely lose to Wisconsin. But we'll see. The other side of the equation here is Indiana, who, while last year they were 0-9 in the Big Ten and 2-10 overall. Far cry from that season where we thought that they might actually do something. They are currently 1-2 in the Big Ten, 3-3 overall. The prediction from Athlon was for them to go 2-7 in the Big Ten and 4-8 overall. I think, which obviously it's still terrible. It's twice their record from the previous season, but it's still terrible. And I think they have an opportunity to beat Rutgers. The Purdue game, I think, is questionable. And the only reason I give that to them is because Indiana and Purdue, that's a rivalry game for them. So there's some question marks there. Indiana, like I said, Indiana is ahead of last year. I think they should match the prediction, but they are a long shot for a bowl game. In fact, I would just go ahead and say they're not going to make one. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't have them winning another game the rest of the season. So, I mean, Indiana, honestly, they probably should have been better than what they are this season. I don't think that over the offseason there was a whole lot of hype. And I think we've pretty much figured out why at this point. Like, yeah, they had a pretty good solid half against Michigan. But I mean, it's like we talked about, like Michigan was dealing with Mike Hart's medical issue, which was scary. Also, like Indiana was playing pretty well for quite some time. But like as soon as Michigan calmed down and was able to take a bit of a breather of sorts, I mean, the game was pretty much over halfway through the third quarter, which, you know, and you got to say, well, Indiana held them through halfway through the third quarter. Yeah, but still, Michigan was playing conservative. There's no need to open up the playbook, and Indiana still couldn't stop them. Indiana couldn't do anything on offense. I really think they'll be hard pressed to find a win anywhere on the rest of the schedule. I mean, Rutgers isn't exactly awful. They would definitely be beatable, but I think Rutgers wins that game just because it's a road game for Indiana. Michigan State is terrible on defense, but Indiana is actually statistically worse. And then obviously Penn State, Ohio State, and Purdue, I think are all pretty solid losses.
Yeah.
So I don't really know that that's going to work out too well for them. So
yeah, you got to feel bad for them. They finish out November, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Purdue. Well, actually Michigan State. You know, I think about that. That might be a tougher game too. They might actually win that one, but although maybe not. If there's one thing Michigan State can do, it's even when they lose, they just keep pounding on you until you pay for it.
They do play angry when they're not having a good season, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I was going to skip to the next game. What is your prediction for the game? The Maryland at Indiana.
Yes, Maryland at Indiana. The actual prediction is, wait a minute, did you have a prediction? Or aren't you supposed to go first?
Oh, that's right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So the team rivalry top secret score predictor has this one pretty lopsided. We've got Maryland at 45 and Indiana at 12.
Okay. I feel it. I myself like Maryland's offense, probably not that much because they're a little mistake prone. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Angry Turtles 31-17.
The Angry Turtles. That's an angry turtle.
It's an angry turtle.
That's going to do it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. I hope you appreciated our ramblings and our opinions there. If you have a different guess on any of these games, a different of opinion, please leave it in the comments. We love to hear from you guys. I hope everybody has fun watching football this weekend. Mac, take us out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell. This is Team Rivalry.